Hey, this is Will with LV Performance. Today what we're going to be doing is a intercooler and charge pipe upgrade on this EcoBoost Mustang. This one is a 2017. As far as I know, this will be the same for all the EcoBoost Mustangs up to present. This one, there's multiple ways to go about it, and some people have had some success with pulling them straight out the bottom, with unbolting some of the stuff and leaving the front bumper on. So we'll see what you're looking for in a real world time when you're working on your EcoBoost Mustang, so you know what to expect. Alright, so we have our intercooler from CV Fabrications. Pretty massive package, actually. It looks beautiful. Wow, that's some heavy duty construction. The baby is hefty though. Takes some serious freaking boost. Let's say damn, they're twice as thick as the other one. This one was actually purchased on a discount setup. Most of them, and the ones you get from CV Fabrication, won't have this issue. This one was actually supposedly misdrilled where it goes in for the map sensor, so we might have to slightly modify the map sensor for it to bolt down properly. Like I said, that's not a issue they all have. This one was just a misbuild, so we got it on a discounted setup. Alright, first we're going to start with pulling this upper cowl panel off. These just have a bunch of the little push-in clips, so make sure you have your handy special tool. Another thing that we will have to do is unbolt the radiator support, so we will have to move it back a little bit. We don't have to take it out, but we'll have to move it back. I'm going to go ahead and unbolt the coolant tank from here, just to kind of make sure I don't put any extra stress on the mounting tabs for that. We'll have to lift the radiator setup up because it has pins kind of similar to this going down into the core support. We keep it lined up in some rubber bushings, so we'll have to lift this up to move it back a little bit. Alright, so now for some of the underneath portion, there's a couple clips to pop off, and then a bunch of 7mm screws to take out. There actually should be more of them. If you look up in here, looks like whoever did the replacement on this bumper just put the shroud on over the screws. The screws are actually supposed to go up through that as well. And then slide it back. Now let's go ahead and slide it back over here. I'm under here right now. I'm going to go ahead and remove this brace. These ones are 8mm. This plug right over here is for the map sensor where it goes into the intercooler. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. So there's a press tab right there. Slides right out. Set that right up there so it doesn't get hurt. You can see it's got these clips where it kind of snaps into the radiator. If you can see, these are those bushings where the radiator sits down into. So we're going to get up from the top and actually lift this whole setup up, and then we can get it to move back a little bit. Alright, so there's one little 10mm bolt holding the intercooler to the radiator bracket assembly. And you can see where it kind of hooks over that bracket up there, so it kind of sits down and then bolts in. The other side has a type of a clip that holds it on. Alright, so we got the cold side charge pipe out. We're going to do the hot side now. This one, there's some wiring that comes over to it. Some push-in clips. Just going to try to remove those without damaging them. Disconnect the bypass valve. Spring clamp for the circulation valves. You can get that out of there. Pick up on this whole radiator assembly. It has a condenser attached to it as well. Need to undo the condenser from here. And pick that up and try to move it back a little bit. And I'll see if I can get the intercooler detached from the radiator portion. Alright, so I'll show you which ones. There's one shield I have pulled up top that I had to disconnect from the radiator side and slide it up. And then this one down here has a push pin that goes into the body. I just got a pry bar up between this shield and the body. Gonna push that clip out. I was able to get it out of this side and just pop it loose from here. So it actually came out fairly easily, not too crazy. You can see here the new intercooler is more than double the thickness of the factory one. Remove the map sensor from the factory intercooler. Alright, we got our O-ring lubed up. That matches up now.
Seems good.
Yeah, there you go. Attached, and then I'll get the other one slid down. Alright, so this shield up here that goes on the side of the condenser has two push-in clips. I undid those and pulled this up because that got it out of the way lower down. That was able to wiggle the intercooler out a little easier. Over our diverter valve. And seal this clean. Alright, so we got the intercooler all in there. We did get the hot side charge pipe put on. Okay, the cold side, no matter how we tried to put it in there, the lower coupler was just smashed up against the body in that brake line. And it was just really tight in there with the pipe going against the throttle body. It was putting a whole lot of stress on that. So I opted just to put the factory cold side pipe back on. because I did not like how the fitment was on that one. I don't know if it was made a little weird, or if it's just the fitment of their charge pipes with the larger intercooler, but the factory pipe went back in there very nicely. Right now we are going to put back on this brace under shield and start refastening some of the stuff from the top. Alright, so we got it all back together. Got the hot side charge pipe on. It fits nice. The recirc hose, bypass solenoid. If you were doing just the intercooler, to drop it out the bottom, as long as you're careful and everything, I really think it's not more than a 2-hour job max. It really isn't. It took us a little longer messing with the charge pipes. The hot side was a bit of a pain to get lined up, and then the cold side could not get it to line up at all. Once we got it in there, it was just bound up too hard against the body and putting a whole lot of pressure up against the throttle body. So we opted just to put the factory one back on. Overall though, I think the intercooler was a good setup. I like the quality of it, and it was pretty easy to put in. Their pipes, not quite as big on, but the intercooler definitely seemed to be a good setup. We're gonna take it for a little test drive, make sure there's no issues. Alright guys, thanks for watching. For those of you that wonder if an oil catch can is a good thing to have or not, this shows some of the oil residue that goes through the intercooler and back into the induction system. So you can see how much is built up on there. So if you have an oil catch can, that'll greatly reduce that. Hey, this is Will with LV Performance. Screwed that up.